Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today to do an entire complete line comparison of every single top-end Nike model. It includes 5 as of late 2013, early 2014. So this will include the Nike Premier, the Nike Tiempo Legend 5, the Nike CTR360 Maestri 3, the Nike Mercurial Vapor 9, as well as the Nike Hypervenom Phantom. This is a video that is really made for people to kind of get a general idea of what each individual shoe in their lineup is all about, and hopefully allow you to make a more educated decision on which model is best for you. This is not going to be a video recommending shoes based on position or playing style, because that has nothing to do with how you should pick out your shoes. You have to pick out your shoes based on your own personal preferences when it comes to feel, which is what I'm going to be explaining in today's video. As always guys, if you are interested in more information on any of the shoes that you will see in today's video, I will leave annotations on screen, as well as links in the description to the review pages on my website, where you will not only find the full written reviews, but also buy it now links with the best prices online, including exclusive SR4U coupon codes to get yourself some additional discounts if you are interested in ordering something for yourself. So with all of that being said, let's get right into the video. The CTR360 Maestri 3 is a boot that I would recommend to people who enjoy the feel of a classic, more traditionally styled leather soccer shoe, but at the same time want something a little bit more modern. The Maestri 3 features a Kangolite synthetic upper, which is really the highlight of this boot. Kangolite is a synthetic material designed by Nike to mimic the natural feel of kangaroo leather, and it does that very, very well while still maintaining the benefits of a synthetic material, and that it's more lightweight, being that the shoe only weighs in at 8.3 ounces. It dries much more quickly, it doesn't hold or absorb as much water, and it maintains its shape a lot better overall. In terms of the fit and feel of the shoe, it definitely does have a slightly tighter fit than you might get from something like a natural leather shoe, simply because it isn't going to stretch quite as much, but for the most part it is very, very comfortable. It does have a slightly unusual lacing system, with the laces being pushed to the instep of your foot. It doesn't really get in the way as far as shooting or anything like that, and it just makes for a very comfortable and secure fit, and you have plenty of open area here on the side of the foot to make clean touches on the ball. You're also going to find a rubberized passing element here on the instep. Of course, the upper is finished off with ACC All Conditions Control, which essentially acts as Nike's wet control element. You're going to find on pretty much all of their top-end models except the Nike Premier. And then moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern, you're going to have a very low-profile plastic sole plate. It's a little bit more of a responsive plastic than you might find as opposed to more of a standard TPU sole plate. And then the stud pattern features a combination of bladed and kind of half moon shaped studs that performs very, very well. They penetrate the ground really easily, and it does really have a nice combination in terms of providing good grip at push off and plenty of maneuverability when planted. The Nike Premier is not only an incredible boot when it comes to performance, but it's also a fantastic value. For as little as about $80 US, you can pick up a pair of Nike Premiers, which is pretty unheard of considering the overall quality of materials and just general performance and feel of this particular shoe. The entire upper is made from an extremely high quality kangaroo leather, and it's going to offer a much more traditional feel than what you're going to get from any other model currently available from Nike. With that being said, the quality of the kangaroo leather alone makes for an extremely comfortable, high quality fit, and if you really want that kind of purist type of feel when it comes to soccer shoes, where you just get the nice, clean, soft touch of kangaroo leather, the Nike Premier does that better than pretty much any other shoe out there. This is Nike's kind of response to the Adidas Copa Mundial, and that they're offering you something with a more traditional feel, but at the same time the boot doesn't have any of the extra weight or bulk of something like the Copa. As you guys can see, the shoe only weighs in at 8.65 ounces, which is extremely lightweight for a shoe that is 100% made from kangaroo leather. Now moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern, you're going to find a fairly plain Jane TPU sole plate, relatively thin and flexible, which just adds to the overall natural feel of the Nike Premier, and of course a pretty straightforward conical stud pattern that is nice and low to the ground, provides some decent traction, as well as plenty of maneuverability. The Nike Tiempo Legend 5 is the newest model in Nike's current lineup of soccer cleats. I would describe it as a boot that's going to offer a more traditional feel, but at the same time has a bit of a modern twist. I think that this time around with the Tiempo Legend 5, Nike really wanted to innovate as far as what they could do when it comes to modifying a kangaroo leather upper, and they've done that successfully with the Legend 5. You get a full kangaroo leather upper that is relatively thin and does not feel as bulky as most kangaroo leather shoes might feel. And they've modified that kangaroo leather upper by implementing their brand new Hyper Shield liner, which is a honeycomb mesh-like material, very similar to the base layer material for Nike's own Nike Skin Synthetic found on the Hypervenom Phantom. Not only does this make for a less bulky feel and just allow you to get a closer touch on the ball while still maintaining the softness of kangaroo leather, it also allows for the leather to dry a lot more quickly, which is a pretty common problem with any natural leather soccer shoe. As far as other modifications that make the Legend 5 relatively unique, Nike has implemented the X1.1 last, again sharing that same concept from the Nike Hypervenom Phantom. So as far as leather soccer shoes go, the Legend 5 is going to have one of the tighter, more secure fits of any other boot currently out there on the market, made from all kangaroo leather. As far as the sole plate and stud pattern goes, it's pretty much the same Tiempo Legend stud pattern that we've come to know and love. Performs really, really good. You got your bladed studs in the heel, your conical studs in the forefoot. They have, of course, implemented one Mercurial-esque stud right at the tip of the toe, which I find makes a pretty significant difference when it comes to overall traction when pushing off for a sprint. Not to mention that the shoe itself is very solid in its overall construction. They did not skimp out on materials whatsoever, but it still weighs in at a very lightweight 8.65 ounces. The Nike Hypervenom Phantom is no doubt an absolutely fantastic boot, but it's a little bit difficult to recommend in comparison to other shoes on the market just because it is so unique. I would say that the Hypervenom Phantom is something to consider if you've been a long time wearer of the Mercurial series and are looking for a little bit of a change up in terms of feel, but still want a similar level of performance. It's a lightweight shoe weighing in at only 7.2 ounces, but what really makes this shoe unique is the Nike Skin Synthetic upper, which is what everybody's been raving about over the last 6 months or so. Now, in terms of the Nike Skin Synthetic itself, it's made up of a base layer of honeycomb mesh, which is what gives the upper its unusual texturing and appearance. Over top of that honeycomb mesh, you're going to find several ultra-thin membrane layers of polyurethane fused over top, and those polyurethane layers are finished off with what Nike calls an X-ray texturing, which I would describe as a slightly waxy finish that gives you a very soft touch type of grip on the ball that I'm personally a really, really big fan of. What also makes Nike Skin such a unique material when it comes to touch is that it's very, very thin, but at the same time is slightly cushioned because of that mesh layer. So you're going to get more of a barefoot type of experience while playing in this shoe, but at the same time there is that slight amount of padding that you might expect from something that has a leather upper. So it's a very unusual quality to have in an upper and something that you can only get from Nike Skin at this point in time. With that being said, while the upper is very, very thin, it's also an extremely comfortable shoe, and Nike Skin does have the unique ability to stretch and form to the exact shape of your foot, making it one of, if not the most comfortable lightweight soccer shoe currently out there on the market. The base of the shoe is based off of the X1.1 last, found on both the Hypervenom Phantom and Nike Tiempo Legend 5. It's a little bit wider in the forefoot, slightly tighter in the toe box area, makes for a very natural fit, and the shoe breaks in very, very well, stretching to the exact shape of your foot, while the sole plate is loosely based off of what you're going to find from the Nike Mercurial Vapor 9, with a glass nylon base as opposed to glass fiber, still very responsive and a little bit stiff at first, and a stud pattern that again is very similar to that of the MV9, but instead of bladed studs, you're going to find conical studs, so you're not going to get quite as much grip at push-off, but plenty of maneuverability when planted. The Mercurial Vapor 9 is the lightest boot on offer from Nike, weighing in at a very lightweight 6.6 ounces. While it is very lightweight, it also offers a very solid construction and just very responsive feel overall, which is something that is lacking from certain lightweight shoes currently out there on the market. It's one of those shoes that's designed to provide a very barefoot-like playing experience, not only in terms of how light it is, but also in terms of the thinness of the upper. The upper of this shoe is made from a one-piece, ultra-thin, ultra-high quality Teijin synthetic material. There's very little between your foot and the ball, and for the most part, if you like having the most responsive, least amount of padding possible when playing soccer, you're going to like the feel of the Mercurial Vapor 9. What's also interesting about this particular line from Nike is that you have two different upper variations to choose from depending on which colorway you go for. Certain colorways, like the purple and Volt one I have right here, features Nike's Speed Control golf ball-like dimpling on the upper, which is going to provide a slightly grippier feel on the ball, whereas other colorways are going to offer a smooth leather grain finish, which is going to offer more of a traditional Mercurial experience and a little bit less grip on the ball. Either way, whichever one is your preference, they're both very, very good. You're still going to get a very positive Mercurial Vapor 9 experience, and of course both upper variations are finished off with Nike's ACC technology as well. Moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern, the Mercurial Vapor 9 offers perhaps one of the most unique firm ground stud patterns ever to be released, period, and it also performs the part as well. It's designed honestly for firm ground natural grass playing surfaces that are slightly softer, where the studs can easily penetrate the ground, and if you're going to be playing on harder ground natural grass playing surfaces, you're probably best avoiding this particular stud pattern altogether and just the Mercurial series, simply because there are so very few studs under your feet. But on the right type of playing surface, the amount of traction you get at push-off with this particular stud pattern is absolutely incredible and definitely worth trying out if you're really a big fan of having tons and tons of grip at push-off. In terms of the sole plate itself, you're going to find that the sole plate is made from a glass fiber material, 2 layers in the heel and midfoot, 1 single layer in the forefoot. Some colorways have 2 layers in the forefoot. Again, I've mentioned this before in my videos. It doesn't make too big of a difference in terms of overall feel, but this glass fiber sole plate is relatively rigid, nice and stiff through the midfoot, and nice and responsive once the shoe is broken in, maintaining that lightweight feel, but at the same time the shoe doesn't feel flimsy. Alright guys, that's it for my comparison of the entire Nike lineup. As you guys can tell, they have a pretty diverse line, something for everybody, you might say. I know one of the questions that's going to be pretty prevalent in the comments is what is my own personal favorite model from Nike? And I would say that as of right now, 2 really jump out at me as my personal favorite, and they would be the Nike CTR360 Maestri 3. That's a boot that I called the best boot of 2012, as well as the Nike Tiempo Legend 5. It's the newest model from Nike, and I have to say I've been a really big fan of this shoe so far. But again, everybody has their own personal preferences, and that's really how you should base your decision when picking your next pair of shoes if you are planning to buy a Nike product. Again, guys, if you are interested in any extra information on any of the products you've seen in today's video, be sure to refer to my website, soccerreviewsforyou.com. All of the review page links can be found down below in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. And if you guys do have any further questions or suggestions, be sure to leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.